Welcome to Wednesday of the Passion Week. It's a remarkable day because for Jesus our Lord, it's really a day of silence. We're told of nothing that happens in His life that day, and that makes it the perfect day for what does happen. It's the very first time in the Passion Week that Judas has had an opportunity to betray Jesus. As you'll read, there's a meeting in the court of Caiaphas' home. A number of the leaders of the nation have gathered to talk about how to solve the Jesus problem. About 6 to 8 weeks before, right after the raising of Lazarus, the Sanhedrin, the official governing body of the nation, they had convened an official session to discuss what to do about Jesus. And then, a number of weeks before, they had concluded, you can read about it in John 11, that they were going to kill Jesus. He had to go to save the nation. They meant to do it politically, but Caiaphas, we're told, being the high priest that year, spoke prophetically, and he unwittingly predicted Christ's spiritual sacrifice for the sake of the nation. So they had decided Jesus had to die, but they still hadn't determined how to carry out that decision. So they convened this informal meeting of key leaders of the Sanhedrin, apparently at the home of Caiaphas, to talk about exactly how to make it happen. And they conclude that it can't happen during Passover week because there's simply too many people. There are a greater number of Roman soldiers. The potential for a riot is very real. You have all these people gathered. Hundreds of thousands of people would have come together for Passover, and many of them would have been from Galilee, where Jesus' influence was much greater than it was in Judea. And so they simply didn't want to risk a possible riot. So instead, they determined whatever they're going to do about Jesus couldn't happen during the Passover. Ironically, or you could say providentially, just as they're finishing up their meeting, Judas shows up. Because they had a plan, but God had a greater plan. God had decided that His Son, the perfect Passover lamb, had to die on Passover 1,400 years before at the time of the Exodus. And so that's exactly what transpires. The way it all sets up, as you'll read, is that Judas shows up at just the right time as this meeting is happening and maybe even breaking up, and he offers to betray Jesus for money. Here's a man driven by his greed. That was clear even on the previous Saturday night when he had criticized Mary for the lavish gift of love that she had showed Jesus. In his mind, when she poured out that precious perfume on him, she had wasted all that money. And so greed is what drives him. And now, for greed, he's willing to sell Jesus for 30 pieces of silver, the price of a slave. The leaders of the nation, of course, are thrilled because here's a way that they can act right away because Judas, as an insider, can help them know when and where Jesus is essentially alone. So he can be arrested then without the crowd, without the potential for a riot. This is what happens on Wednesday.